I personally am drawn to art that hits those feelings inside of me that I can't always communicate what they are, but they're there and, it speaks it for you. I am Jen Levita. I was in the Army as an officer in Air Defense Artillery. I was airborne qualified, so I jumped out of planes occasionally. It felt more like there were two sides to me. And there was the military side. When I put my uniform on, that was a certain person and feeling that I was. And then when I went home, I got to be Jen. Currently, I'm doing an ocean waves series that was inspired by becoming a mom and feeling the crazy waves of emotion that come with that, the extreme highs, the lows, from moment to moment. What I love about USVA is it has bridged what I thought was always a gap of my creative side and my military experience. And I thought once I got out of the military, that's kind of it. And now I'm starting over. And that's definitely how I felt. But with USVA, it's really kept it alive so much, where I get to speak about my experience. I get to be around other veterans and be involved in projects that honor veterans. And that is so amazing. To use my art in that way, I never imagined it, and USVA has made it possible.
United States Veterans Arts Alliance is a multidisciplinary arts organization, nonprofit, that serves veterans and their families and active duty military personnel. Our work is designed to highlight the talent level of veterans, both past and present, who have participated in creative endeavors and the creative economy, the humanities, the arts, and the entertainment industry. The reason we started the organization was that we recognize this wide variety of experiences as well, and we wanted to highlight veterans in all of the arts.
It's always about the guy to the left of you or the guy to the right of you when you're in the military. And so there's just a trust there with Keith and the other mentors that he introduced me to along the way. So there are great books about heroic Marines, and there are not very many books about Marines that are living the life of a Marine outside of a combat zone and having the time of their lives. And that coexists. And a lot of the stuff that happened was in the writing and the reflection on it was hilarious. The military has a great sense of humor. A lot of the fun stuff in there kind of happened like it's depicted. But none of the guys were clowns. None of them were, shaving a haircut stuff. It was just the humor of the human condition. The USVA is as much a support system as you could possibly have in the writing world. And USVA really epitomizes solid, 10-finger support.
I had my military experience, which was very positive. I learned a lot in the military. I got to do what I wanted. I moved to Los Angeles, and I realized very quickly that because of my particular military experience, people pigeonholed me and wanted me to move into a certain type of area creatively. And I was resistant to that. It presented an opportunity to change the way that people perceived veterans, more positive, to realize that veterans are creative individuals, that they are people that are multidimensional.
knew people served, but it was pretty closeted. Like, dad didn't talk about it, mom didn't talk about it. I think being in that particular war, they weren't greeted well. So I think my dad just kind of put it away. It became a conversation when I was a dancer and an actor in a play called Veteranos, directed by Enrique Castillo. And it was about Chicanos who served in different wars, and they were Purple Heart recipients. And that's when the conversation struck for us. When my grandmother told me that when he came back, they had to get up at 5 a.m. because he would walk the streets and patrol. And he was patrolling constantly. And they would have to go up and tell him he wasn't in the war anymore. As a daughter of a veteran, what effect does that have on me? Emotionally, spiritually, energetically? What gets passed down to me without knowing it? I'm a dancer and a choreographer, so I'm always curious of like, how does my body move if I were to, continue to explore a piece that's dedicated to him, or just movement. Thinking about, I'm a daughter of a vet, just that alone. I feel like art, it's so healing in so many ways, for the audience, for the performer, for our ancestors. It heals. And sometimes you don't even know what you're healing from, but something gets shedded off that you can let it go. Like, I am a daughter of a Vietnam vet. This happened. I didn't know much about it, but that's okay. But I do now. And so what am I gonna do with it now? Now that I'm more comfortable, more conversations are happening, giving myself permission to feel, to hear, to listen, to just be present with stories. Yeah, it gives me permission to say it. I'm a daughter of a Vietnam vet.
I'm Leilani Squire. I'm the executive director, artistic director of Returning Soldiers Speak, a nonprofit organization that helps veterans and families of veterans tell their story through the written word, through theater, prose, and poetry, and building community. Because I was born in the military and raised in the military, I understand the military complex from the viewpoint of the family member. And somehow when I'm sitting around the table with veterans, I feel at home. So that's my mother and my father. And then this, let's see, and then this one, this was taken, this photograph was taken at the same time as the one that I just showed. But she made this for my father. I found letters that my mother had written my father. And she said that I cried. I was on the floor in the back seat, and I cried all the way home saying, they took my daddy away. They took my daddy away. That living experience. How can I help others? Bone splinters jut through screen, shaking forensic teams to stab what gasps difference between womb and tomb, as if the deaths in our hands were weathers, not winds. Wow, Ralph, that's a whole different voice than you usually write.
But here, in silence after silence, you are the eloquent stone for every one of us whom two worlds ambushed. To us you are known, our own. The Bronze Star is sometimes awarded for individual performance that is outstanding, and sometimes for unit performance. And I would attribute my having a Bronze Star to my service with the 407th Radio Research Detachment in Quang Tri Province. So occasionally the messages that we intercepted contained information that command structure actually responded to. artillery on a certain position or bombing on a certain position. There was a need to identify the tensions that were internal and deal with them. Leilani, with Returning Soldiers Speak, has provided that safe place and the ability to deal with memories helps keep me going. There's still a tension that I feel between meeting the ideals or expectations of patriotic American and conflicting feelings of, well, the end product, if I'm successful in this translation and a B-52 strike goes onto that base that's been overrun, should I be happy that they find 15 bodies? You want to read it?
You want me to read it?
Yeah.
Okay. From the tribute to men. The syllables sung between us and the fruit, the rice and the tea on the altar, weave the younger face, smiling from amid my photo on the white altar cloth into nearer views, entrusted me with the mother tongue of this week's business. As beautiful, entrusted me with the mother's tongue. The children's graves, news from home, stories of the war that flung us from splayed provinces of combat into grafted destinies and peace. And brotherhood deeper than blood that taught me more through perseverance than has ever pursed and homilies fluttered from the well-intended or officially ordained. I hear men speak beneath the southern pine. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, Ralph. I hear men speak beneath the southern pine.
The play that I've written, it's called Support and Defend. And it's really looking at the experience of a military family and the sacrifice, the idea of the ultimate sacrifice, if you will. What I'm trying to do is look at the family and how they play a role.
I was just thinking about that time they got me the bike and hid it in the garage. I thought I was being sent to retrieve more firewood, and there was the bike with the huge ribbon on it. That was the best Christmas ever.
Maddie returns to the couch and burrows under the blanket with her.
Your dad would have been proud of you for following in his footsteps. I am too. Wanting to emulate him is something to be proud of. He was a good man, the best. But Matt, you've lost all sight of his trail.
The military spouse doesn't always get the option or the ability to process as much as maybe service members do. And I don't think they get that option enough either. But I feel like there was a lot of times when Mark was deployed where I couldn't really think about what he was doing. I couldn't think about the fact that he was in significant danger. You know, he was in Afghanistan in 2011 at kind of the height of what was going on there. And I'm taking my kid to school every day. My youngest once called into a radio show. It was Thanksgiving. My kid calls up and says, "I'm thankful my dad didn't die in Afghanistan." You know? Wow. He was gone for both kids' senior year of high school. And I say it was a drag for me, you know, single parenting. My dad actually was living with us, and so I was caring for him, working a full-time job, teaching online then. So it was a lot. But I would say that it was, you know, it was just as much for him because he missed so much. You know, we still have times we'll talk about, oh, don't you remember when we went to this place or we saw this movie? And he's like, yeah, I wasn't there. So there's gaps in his experience with his kids, which I think is, you know, it still weighs on him. It's frustrating. that's what this has allowed me to do, go through and process a lot of stuff that didn't get processed at the time. It's the need to connect with other people. And I think groups like Returning Soldiers Speak are just absolutely paramount to that process. And with the audiences who are there sharing their stories with the people who are on stage and starting the conversation between those groups is what brings everybody together and helps that growth to start happening.
One of the things I've learned with Returning Soldiers Speak is I understand so much more about the military family's perspective than I ever did when I was active duty.
Writing is part of the journey. Rehearsing is the initial step. It's when we put the work out into a space such as this and there's community to watch and to witness, that to me is the real healing, the power of story. We're all connected somehow through this web. So, thank you very much.
You can generate hope if you provide a support system for others.
I hope that other people perceive it the same way, that we have touched people's lives and provided positive paths forward for them to accomplish their work.
Just having a little bit time to paint is like nurturing myself and gives you hope for what's to come. There's more. I'm capable of more. There's better things that are happening.
Under the guise of literacy, I've seen way more beauty than horrendous ugliness. But if we can keep illuminating the good, we can have plenty of reasons to be hopeful. Plenty. Yeah. And the arts are a big one. Yeah. That's what I think.